let us meditate a little bit together. We're sitting upright and relaxed. Letting go of the past and the future. Today, we will direct our exploration, investigation of the aggregates towards the feeling, Vedana aspect, particularly the impermanent, the anicca nature of Vedana, of feeling. And remember, when we speak of feeling, we don't mean emotions like happiness, sadness, worries. We don't mean those emotions. We mean the pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral aspect or affective tone of those emotions of experience. Is it pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Very simple. We can open our eyes and look at the area in front of us. Maybe it's a slightly downward focus of our gaze. Seeing is happening. But whatever we see is also accompanied by a certain feeling, depending on what is the object. It is evaluated as either pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. So if you see the tiles of the floor in front of you, most likely it's perceived as rather neutral feeling. But then if you look closely, you can focus on the tiles, the structure, the different colors, the shape. It's actually quite beautiful in a way. How much detail there is to be seen in a single floor tile. Looking at it in this way, it's actually a little bit pleasant. So the neutral feeling from before has ceased, and now there's pleasant feeling on account of the same object even. We hear the sounds of the traffic in the distance. What is the accompanying feeling there? Is it pleasant, or unpleasant, or neutral? It might be neutral. Or if you don't like traffic, you might perceive it as unpleasant. Or when the mind realizes, oh, today is Sunday, actually the traffic is a bit less than usual, quite nice. Might be pleasant. Most likely, it's maybe neutral or slightly unpleasant because we don't like to hear the traffic. What happened to the earlier nice experience of seeing the floor tiles? The pleasant feeling arising from eye contact. It has ceased. At the time we are hearing the sound of the traffic, that pleasant feeling from seeing has subsided. It's gone. It's not in the background. There's only one feeling at a time. So when the attention is directed to the sound of the traffic, that will have an accompanying feeling, pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral. We notice the birds chirping in the background. How nice. Maybe there's a slightly pleasant feeling now on account of hearing the birds. And suddenly the traffic doesn't disturb anymore. The unpleasant feeling from the traffic is gone because the attention has been directed to something else. It's impermanent. Feelings are changing. As we keep listening to the sound of the birds, after a while you may notice, it's actually not so interesting anymore. What started out as a pleasant feeling transitioned gradually sometimes into a more neutral feeling tone, neither pleasant nor unpleasant. Not because the birds are gone, but because the mind becomes saturated or bored, disinterested. So feeling changes, dependent on how we pay attention, also for how long. The stories that we associate with certain feelings, with certain experience. For example, the information that often when the birds are chirping, they're actually fighting, trying to prevent other birds from coming close. They're territorial. With that information, the same sound may be perceived now as slightly unpleasant. Why are they already fighting? again, the more neutral feeling from before might transition into a slightly unpleasant feeling. Because whatever we experience is not just a pure sense object, it's often associated, always associated, with some evaluation that will color our feeling down. The perception influences the feeling. Smelling, tasting. You might explore at a certain time while eating or drinking. Let us move on to the body, feeling born of body contact. How does the body feel right now, as a whole? Pleasant or neutral, or a little bit unpleasant? After sitting for a while already, there might be a little bit of tension here or there, a little bit of discomfort. So maybe the general feeling is one of slight dukkha, slight discomfort. Compare that with the feeling there was at the time of sitting down fresh, just at the beginning of this meditation session. Felt very comfortable. That feeling is also impermanent, it seems, changing. Direct your awareness to any part of the body that you would say feels a little bit uncomfortable, or maybe even painful. Could be the knees, or maybe the shoulders, whatever it is. Just pay attention to that sensation of slight discomfort or pain. And try to see whether I can observe the changing nature of that pain while it is still going on. Is it really exactly the same every moment? Or maybe it fluctuates a little bit. There's some moments it feels a bit stronger. And the other moments it feels not so strong. It's changing, it's impermanent. It's transitioning. unlikely that it will jump from unpleasant to unpleasant. But even within the same discomfort feeling, the intensity of the discomfort changes. Or try to find the center of the pain. Where is it exactly? Is it always at exactly the same place? Or is the location also changing a bit? A bit to the left, a bit to the right. Looking back at the pleasant feeling on account of hearing the birds. It has disappeared, hasn't it? Once attention was something somewhere else, the previous feeling has disappeared straight away. And even from moment to moment, it's constantly changing. Nothing we can hold on to. It doesn't matter how pleasant a certain experience might be, it will pass. It doesn't matter how unpleasant a certain experience might be, it will pass. It's impermanent. Nothing to be excited about. Nothing to be overwhelmed by. Just observing. Understanding. And letting go. No feeling whatsoever is worth clinging to. They're all transient, conditioned. Simply go with the flow. With acceptance and equanimity. slowly coming to an end of this meditation and get back to normal. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, which one you prefer? Pleasant, unpleasant, or neutral? Easy choice, no? Everybody prefers pleasant, I guess. Yeah. Neutral? Yeah, neutral is also quite nice, isn't it? It's like an acquired taste. At the beginning, meditators or anyone wants to always have pleasant experience. As we grow in maturity, we can discern the fine flavor of neutral and equanimity, and that is almost more pleasant in a certain way than just pleasure. So neutral also can actually be quite nice. The tranquility that comes with it, calmness. Thank you, I don't need that roller coaster anymore. Say, yeah, nice. How was it, the mind wandering a lot during the meditation? Not so much? Okay, good. It's interesting, huh? Even though we watch changing objects, impermanent objects like feelings, we go from one sense to another, yet the mind can become quite peaceful actually by doing that. So the hypothesis, or sometimes the dogma, that to get samadhi or tranquility, you have to watch conceptual or non-changing objects. That is not true. That is not the case. We know from personal experience, nobody can make that claim. But people can have different experience. So subjectively there can be differences. But we know, oh, actually, that also works. Yes, you had a question. Yeah, it's a combination, isn't it? It's a combination of seeing direct experience, your own feelings, like just now, but also you have to allow your mind to investigate a little bit. It's almost like an inner dialogue. Is this changing or not? Let me see, let me check. Then you come back, you observe again. So you gather data, but then also the mind has to evaluate it. Otherwise, it's not much insight, not much wisdom can arise. If you keep it on a very short leash, the mind cannot observe properly. So you have to allow the mind to investigate. And yeah, thinking, if you want, is part of that. We call contemplation. Yeah. So it's a combination of seeing, direct seeing, and contemplation. The Buddha in the suttas often calls that mode is seeing with wisdom. Not just seeing by feeling it on the body, but seeing with wisdom, understanding with wisdom. So yeah. Alright, give it a sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.